Hello everybody, my name is Matt Mohammed, and let's talk about the unspoken Dreamworks rule. Always skip every other Dreamworks movie. Yeah, I can't be the only one to notice this, but whenever Dreamworks releases a movie, it's always either one of two things. One, it's super successful, making a lot of money in the box office, causing them to make sequels, merchandise, and other spin-offs. Or it's either really bad or kind of good, where all it does is that it gets merch and like Dreamworks never touches it again, except for the usual Netflix series. And today I'm going to talk about one of those movies, which is Mr. Peabody and Sherman. And now a brief history on Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Unlike what you might have thought, this isn't just a one-off Dreamworks movie that someone at Dreamworks thought of. This is actually based off of an old property dating back to the 1960s. This being Peabody's Improbable History. It aired alongside the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, which also came out in the 1960s, and they share a few traits with that show, with cheap animation, however really good dialogue, and really witty writing. It kind of just stayed there for a while, not really getting more than just a DVD set, but in 2014, DreamWorks decided to buy the rights to it and make a movie out of it. And that's how we got Mr. Peabody and Sherman 2014. Now, without further ado, let's get into the plot with spoilers. So the plot is relatively pretty simple. It takes cues from the 1960s TV show to base its story around, like how Peabody had to work to get his rights to adopt Sherman, because Peabody's a dog, I probably should have mentioned that, and Sherman's a boy. And Peabody didn't get adopted when he was a little puppy, so he decided to become great at literally everything. Like, he really is the best person in the world. If he wanted to, he could solve world hunger if he could. Anyway, so Peabody sends Sherman to school. The worst character in the movie, called Penny, which I'll explain why she's the worst later, bullies him, so Sherman bites her, but I mean, she doesn't even get in trouble with that awful human, but I save that for later. So, in order to make up for that and make sure that Peabody doesn't get Sherman taken away from him, because this lady hates dogs for some reason, and she doesn't think that a dog being able to raise a boy is possible. So he invites Penny and her family over to like make up for what happened, and Sherman decides to show her the way back, which is a time machine, because Penny was bullying him again about him lying about George Washington. Ending up, hijinks ensue. After that, it's just a bunch of random skits that are pulled together, which has something to do with different time zones. And then Peabody dies. Except he doesn't, because plot armor, I guess. They really just don't explain it. He just, Sherman's like, how are you alive? And then Peabody's like, let me explain how I built a time machine. They just don't explain it at all. And then, because Sherman thought Peabody was dead, he went back to a time where he existed and accidentally destroys the space-time continuum, causing everything from the past to go near. And then, even though the world is still being destroyed, the police still try to arrest Peabody because, he needs to save the world. And then they hold hands, and then Peabody goes ahead and fixes the world, and then they do the DreamWorks ending where they just dance for the rest of the movie until the end happens. And that's really the movie. It's pretty simple. And yeah, now let's talk about what I like about the movie. I'm gonna skip animation because the animation's great. So, what do I like about the movie? Well, for starters, I like the animation. Taking 2D and turning it into 3D is kind of hard, so I'm glad that they're able to do it and also modernize it so it looks really appealing. I like the characters, most of them at least. Peabody and Sherman really do feel like how they were back then, with a hint of modernness. And I mean, when they're the main characters, they should feel like the characters. The voice acting is really good. For being a child actor, the person who voiced Sherman does a really great job, but I'm pretty sure that's just because he is a voice actor and not just some random child actor they hired on the street. What else? I like the jokes. The jokes are really good. And I'm glad that they kept the witty dialogue, since most of that in the original show was relied on witty. I do like the gags as well. It's a shame that there's not a lot in there, but I really wish there were more, because they're really good when they're in it. I should mention some of the pop culture references that they make that are kind of based on internet stuff. Most people would take that as bad and cringy, but But I mean, I can't really blame them because it was a product of their time. In 2014, everyone was making that kind of joke. Even Shrek has some of that in it. However, you can always look past it, and it's not their fault that things that were popular and trendy back in 2014 isn't popular and trendy in 2021. So I can really look behind it and just understand, oh yeah, that thing was in 2014, that was pretty cool. And that's all really what I have. I mean, I really do like the movie. Like, I like the plot. I like how they go like to different locations. However, since the movie is so bare bones with its plot, there's not much what I can talk about. But now let's get into the things that I don't like about this movie. And whenever there's things I like about it, there's usually something that I don't like. So, what do I not like about this movie? Well, for starters, the movie is too bare bones at times. It's too, it's not like simple, but it does leave you wanting more. The villain, like the main villain, she's too over-exaggerated in my opinion. I don't know if this is nitpicking or not, but in my opinion, like, she's just like way too over-exaggerated. She just goes like, oh, I hate dogs. Take the boy away from the dog. There's no reason. She just wants to because she doesn't like it. Something about prejudice. I don't know. However, good thing she doesn't appear for like majority of the movie. She only appears at the beginning to set up the plot, and at the end to remind you, oh yeah, she exists. There is some Dreamworks cliches in there, like that weird dance party at the end of every single Dreamworks movie ever created. And some jokes don't land, like there's a running gag where Peabody makes a bad pun, but seriously, this guy makes a bad pun? You're telling me that this guy, the smartest human in the world, or dog, is the same one who cracks puns? I don't know if that's supposed to be like a joke, like a dad joke or something. But still, it's not. I don't know. However, I can look those things behind me. I can look for all that stuff, and I can still consider this a good movie. If it wasn't for Penny, this horrible human being is the worst character in this entire movie. Viewers, is it wrong to want to punch a child? Because I swear to God, I want to punch her so bad. She's such a brat. And at the end they try and like make us think like we're supposed to feel bad for her at the end of the movie, even though she's already been established as this villain. So when you're trying to make her a good person, it just doesn't work. That's like taking on that one bully from the show Doug, and then all of a sudden he just becomes a nice person out of nowhere. This is like the Steven Universe levels of take the villain and then make him nice because they were just lonely. But that's not even the thing. She has friends. We see that. Literally, there's no reason. The only reason why she even starts acting nice is when they save her because something that she caused. Literally, every single time she's in this movie, she causes trouble. And there's like a joke where Sherman falls in love with her, but it's treated as a joke. But still, Sherman, you must be the most forgiving person in the entire world to forgive her after a day, maybe a few hours after at school she threw your lunch onto the ground, humiliated you, stealing your personal belongings, and then locked you in a chokehold, which could kill you, and then they treat the part when he bites her as the bad thing, the thing that could tick everyone off, the baddest thing in the world. This is the worst thing you can do. Biting, you're a dog then. But I mean, why? If you learned what you did to him, she locked him in a chokehold. If I was Sherman, I mean, what could you do? How do you get out of a chokehold when you're 7? I mean, you probably could, but I mean, they're 7. So I mean, I probably would have bitten that person, that awful human as well. I probably would, if either biting or scratch, whatever, pinch, I don't know. Still. Why? It's like I said before, it's hard to sympathize with a character at the end when all they've been doing is doing bad stuff. And every time she's in this movie, she causes mischief for no reason. I've never wanted to punch this child so in my life. She seems like an entitled, spoiled brat, and my God, I'm gonna punch her. If her dad doesn't whip her, I will. And I'm not joking. She's the worst character. I know people will probably be like, Matt, you're getting this worked up over some character, but I mean, It would have been different if this movie was a bad movie. But this is a good movie. And she's the only reason why this movie is like bringing Brad down. I can forgive anything else in this movie that's bad, but her is the reason why I don't like it. Yes, I made this entire video just so I could rant about how awful the character Penny is, but my god, she's really the worst character. And if you remove her out of the movie, the movie would probably been the same thing. And like, there was no reason to bring her along. But God, I just don't like her. She is seriously the worst. And if you don't believe me, watch the movie to find out. Because I purposely made sure to leave out most of the bad things that she's done, just so you can watch and see how awful a brat she is. Anyway, calm down. Calm down. That's all I can really say about the bad thing. Yes, this video was made just so I can rant about Penny. Anyway, let's go on to my conclusion. So, in conclusion, the Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie is a really good movie. It might have some flaws, but overall, I would recommend you to watch it because it's just for an enjoyable time. But screw Penny though, my god, I want to hurt her so bad!